It was back in January when the District of Columbia, the City Council, unanimously passed a crime bill that even Washington Democrats' Mayor Bowser, opposed, saying that it does not make us safer. And I can tell you, D.C. has changed a lot in the last few years, and it's at one point it was a pretty safe city. But with the left's embrace of lawlessness, it just seems to be getting worse. Well, in response to the lawless council of the District of Columbia, Congressman Andrew Clyde of Georgia introduced a resolution of disapproval, which is the role of Congress, to block the D.C. Council's dangerous rewrite of Washington's criminal code. As expected, it passed the House last month with 173 Democrats opposing it. But surprisingly, President Biden announced yesterday his support for the resolution, saying that he will sign it if it passes the Senate. So what can we make of this development? Joining us now by phone is Congressman Andrew Clyde. He serves on the House Appropriations Committee and represents Georgia's 9th Congressional District. Congressman, welcome back to the program.
Well, thank you very much, Tony. Appreciate being on Washington Watch.
Well, and by the way, congratulations on being a true blue member of Congress. We appreciated you coming by the headquarters this week and receiving your award. We appreciate you standing firm for faith, family, and freedom.
Well, thank you for that. It was an honor to receive that award. Faith, family, and freedom is what it's all about. And we as constitutional conservatives have to stand up for those values or no one else will, I think. And so it was an honor to receive that award. Thank you.
Congressman, before we talk about the president's surprise announcement yesterday, give our listeners and our viewers a little background on exactly what the D.C. City Council did that you're trying to undo.
Well, it bothered me very much back in November of last year when the City Council unanimously approved a new criminal code, the Revised Criminal Code Act, which reduces maximum sentences for violent crime in Washington, D.C., for robberies and carjackings, for home invasions, for burglaries, for assaults. And it's incredible that they would want to do this when crime is on the rise in D.C. You're seeing homicides have increased 29% compared to last year. Sexual abuse is up 143%. Motor vehicle theft is up 90% compared to February of last year. And D.C. is on pace to have the most homicides since 1995, with 203 of them last year.
Now, Congressman, can I interject? Can I interject something there just to give a little context? Unlike many states, like your home state of Georgia, like my home state of Louisiana, citizens really don't have the ability to protect themselves either because of D.C.'s strict gun control laws. It's almost impossible to possess a firearm in the District of Columbia.
Oh, and you're absolutely correct about that. That's what the Heller decision was about in 2008, when D.C. literally banned people from owning firearms whatsoever in the city. So they had no ability to protect themselves. And now the D.C. Council wants to make it even easier for criminals to commit crimes by reducing their sentences. So absolutely, it's imperative that we take down this law from the council, and Congress has the authority to do it, Tony. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17.
Right. Explain that, because most people are not familiar with the fact that being the District of Columbia, it's the federal city, Congress has oversight of the city of Washington, D.C.
That is correct. And in the Constitution, it gives Congress not just the authority, but it gives Congress the responsibility over the federal city, and that's Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, which says that Congress has exclusive legislative authority over the city, and we are exercising that authority when we see that the local D.C. government is not doing things that make D.C. more safe. And that's exactly what the mayor said. When she vetoed this, she said, this bill does not make us safer, and so Congress has to come in and veto this particular legislation.
So, Congressman Clyde, now I want to move to what the president had to say yesterday. Were you surprised by the president's announcement supporting your resolution?
Well, I was pleasantly surprised and actually very encouraged because I think President Biden is actually seeing, what needs to be done here. Obviously, you've got some politics in play. You've got some senators in vulnerable seats that are up for re-election, and they don't want to be voting against a bill that would make the city of D.C. more safe. They don't want to be seen as soft on crime. And so they want to be able to support this, and they can do that better if the president's willing to support it. So I think we're up to about 54 or 55 now senators that have voiced that they're going to support this bill, and I'm greatly encouraged by that.
I would think, Congressman Clyde, that with what we've seen, as I mentioned at the top of the program, Lori Lightfoot in Chicago, getting about, I think, 18% of the vote in her bid for a second term. I mean, that's being trounced. First time that's happened in 40 years in the city of Chicago. This issue of crime, the issue of protection, public safety has become a big issue with voters, and Democrats have been on the wrong side of this. So, I don't know if it's if they've seen the light or they're feeling the heat, but I do think they're listening.
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I think they're certainly feeling the heat. I mean, even the D.C. Police Union has said this law, once enacted, will lead to violent crime rates exploding even more than they already have. And, this city is for all of America. That means our constituents are coming to D.C. to visit us in Washington, and they need to feel safe while doing that. And so it's our responsibility. And so here we are acting on it, and it's a promise made that, and a promise kept that we are pro-law enforcement, and we're going to pass laws that make our people and our city safer.
Well, you may end up having the first Republican measure of the 118th Congress signed by President Biden, so I commend you on that. But very quickly, before we run out of time, I want to switch gears from the lawlessness in D.C. to the lawlessness on our southern border. We've already surpassed the 1 million mark for fiscal year 2023. What's your reaction to this? Is the Biden administration, do you think they'll turn their attention to that lawlessness?
Well, I hope they will. I'm an eternal optimist. I'm not confident at all that they will do that. They have been on this path of open borders for the last over 2 years, and I don't think they're going to deviate from that path. But it's now up to the Republicans, the Republican majority in Congress, to use our power of the purse to change that path. Because America has to have a secure border. We don't have a secure country, and you've heard that time after time. You don't have a secure country without secure borders. Right now, we don't have a secure southern border. So it's something that we, as Republicans, will have to take on.
And it is fueling lawlessness just by not enforcing the law, but we have a lot leaning toward the criminal element coming across that border. Certainly, we got the drugs coming across as well. Congressman Andrew Clyde, great to talk with you. Thanks so much for joining us on this Friday.
Well, thank you very much for Washington Watch. You guys do great work.